Hi, I'm Slitherpuff, and welcome to episode 3 of Let's Get Rich. In the last episode, we talked about how I go about picking a server and the type of things I look for when choosing a server. In this episode, we're going to talk about how I develop a long-term game plan and choose where to build a base and what to build first. If you're interested in this type of content and making money in Minecraft, please consider liking the video or subscribing below. Now, I've been on the server earlier and I asked a couple important questions because I wanted to know, does the nether reset and does the end reset? And the answer to those questions is yes, it does. That's really important to know because it means we can't make an enderman farm for experience. We can't go to the nether and set up a, wither skeleton farm. So these are things maybe we'll do eventually, but that's not something we want to focus on right now because it's an efficient use of our time. Those things are eventually going to be deleted. So I wanted to do some reconnaissance and see who is the top dog, who has the balanced top look, and who do we need to take a look at. So over here on the server, they have a list of people at the top of the leaderboards. They have number 1 voter, number 1 in MMO power, that's total levels, number 1 balance, number 1 jobs leveled, and number 1 player kills. And looks like number 1 balance. This is what we're shooting for. Now, will we be able to get number 1? Maybe, maybe not. We're going to try, but we're going to at least be able to get top 10. We're going to shoot up there, and it looks like some Muppet is our target. Now, doing a little bit more research, I wanted to see what some Muppet does. You might as well, if someone's at the top, you want to see why they're at the top, what they're doing, and what you can do better. So this server does have player warp, so I wanted to check out some Muppet's player warp. So I did go here, and there is all warps, and I looked for the one that was owned by some Muppet. So they have a warp called Muppets, and let's see what they've done here. And we can get some ideas how they make some money. Maybe we'll do something similar, maybe we won't. So it looks like they have a woodland mansion here that is full of monsters and some type of shop here. It looks like they buy items on the top and sell items on the bottom. So it looks like they're just kind of buying low, selling high. And ooh, it'd be nice to get a beacon. Were we able to get that? Ooh, we did buy a beacon. So they sold us a beacon for $100. That's fantastic. I don't know how I got $100. I played a little bit finding an area earlier, and some people gave me a couple starting items, so I did have a little bit of money. So buying a beacon as one of the first things you can get is probably one of the best things that you can do, and hopefully this zombie doesn't kill us. We don't want to lose our beacon. They did give me a couple blaze rods and bones too, so that should be helpful. I guess we can get them with the sword. Anyways, so this doesn't look like anything that, it looks kind of dangerous. I don't know how many people actually come here because of the monsters. Let's see if we can get home. Maybe this person can save us. Save us! Anyways, okay, so we see what our competition is. It doesn't look like it's anything too crazy. I'm not exactly sure how they make their money yet, but I do know enough to get started. Now, when choosing where to build a base, you really need to take the time to think about what type of farm you want to build by or build in your base, what kind of biome that takes, and what's going to be most useful for you. Mumbo Jumbo and Iskall did a tier list video where they tiered all the farms in terms of which farms are the best and which farms are the worst. And honestly, even though they made this video as kind of a joke, it's a really useful resource in terms of determining what may be a good place to start with for you. So I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description. And some of the farms that really hop out to me on this list are slime farms. I think slime farms are super important. They give you access to slime, which gives you sticky pistons. It gives you access to flying machines. And these are components in a lot of different redstone builds, so this is really high on my list. Iron farms are really important because iron's a resource that's always used. Everyone needs it. And really kind of villager farms go with this hand in hand because it's hard to make an iron farm without a villager farm. Wither skeleton farms are also a consideration. Wither skeletons give access to coal, which can be used as fuel, and they also give access to those wither skulls, which you can use to summon the wither and get items for a beacon. So super effective farm. However, since the nether resets on this server, probably not one I'm going to make right away or if ever, as that progress will be reset. Another farm that I find really high on my list that I think is one of the easiest and most effective farms to make in the entire game is the Enderman farm. However, normally I would start with this farm, but with this server the end resets regularly, so I don't want to lose that progress there as well. So that's kind of off the checklist. Other options for early game are chicken farms or other food farms such as carrot and potato farms that are run by a villager. I've kind of crossed these off the list because I found food to be really cheap and really easy to come by on the server. I find that it's posted regularly in the auction house, and there's people with different crop plots that you can come and use. So I find that those are probably not going to be my first go-to. Another option would be a sugarcane farm, which is useful for trading with villagers or with gunpowder, or pardon me, to combine with gunpowder to make rockets. Not really the first farm that I need. Mob farms, also another choice. You can get loot from skeletons, spiders, creepers, the occasional witch, and zombies. I think this is a super useful farm. And gunpowder specifically is very useful from creepers, but I don't know that this is necessarily the first thing I want to build. I need something that's going to help me get experience. It's going to give me some type of food, and maybe even other additional resources. The next farm I looked at was a raid farm, and these can be very useful because they're going to give you emeralds that you can trade to villagers, along with other items such as Totem of Undying. However, Totem's not particularly an item I'm looking for. And then finally, after all that, I decided to settle with an ocean monument and build a guardian farm and build a base nearby. I'm going to build a base nearby. I'm going to do all the starter survival stuff, and then I want to get a guardian farm up as soon as possible. My thought is a guardian farm is going to supply me with food, some blocks, and it's also going to give me some resources to trade with villagers. It's because I can trade fishermen villagers for emeralds. So it offers a lot of different benefits in one different farm. So my thought is that's the place to start. On top of this guardian farm, what I can do is I can build iron farms on top of it. And then that way, when we're there, we're getting guardian loot, we're getting iron loot, and then I think that's a good starting place. That plan's going to change as we go, but I'm feeling good about it, so let's go find a guardian farm. So I set out to find an ocean monument, and ocean monuments can be found in the deep ocean. Now, they're not exactly common, but they're not rare either. If you take some time to look, so I thought I would find one pretty easily, and I actually did find some pretty easily. I also found some things that I really wasn't looking for, like this town. I thought whoever worked on this did a really nice job, and I just passed it on my way to find ocean monuments. Shortly after coming across this town, I ran into my first ocean monument, and unfortunately, this one had already been claimed. I attempted to set a home here, someone had already claimed it, so I had to look for a different ocean monument. I set out on my boat again, and I saw that someone had settled nearby here, and I found another ocean monument pretty shortly after, maybe 5 minutes after finding the first one. And as I rolled up to it, I had the same problem as the first one. This one had already been claimed as well, and I was starting to kind of run out of ocean to look in. So I packed up my bags, moved along, and looked for another one. About 5 minutes after finding this one, I can't believe it, I found another ocean monument. These are all in the same area, the same ocean, and someone had built next to this one as well. So, you may find this in your server, you may find ones that are already claimed. So I continued my search on land, and I found some fairly interesting things. I found this panda in the bamboo forest. I gave him a little bamboo, but I don't have time to stay. We got to make money, and we've got to get out of here. So have a nice day, panda, but we got to go. As I searched for another ocean, I found other interesting bases. I found this really interesting nether portal, and that someone had attached to a giant wall, and they had done a ton of work on it. I finally found another ocean and started my journey again, looking for that next ocean monument. I went through temperate oceans, I went through deep cold oceans, and I thought these were going to be easier to find, but this took me literally about an hour to an hour and a half to find another ocean monument. I went through swamps. Well, I kind of went through swamps. As you can see, I was having a little trouble here. I went over land just looking for more water so that I could, finally find one of these ocean monuments. And you may find that it takes you a long time to find one as well. That's part of this whole process, is you have to persevere. It's not always going to be easy. So I continued my journey, and I even found a coral reef before I found another ocean monument. And then it finally happened. Those glorious blue lights under the sea, an ocean monument in the middle of nowhere. It was all mine. I went to go claim it, and wait, what? Are you So after another ocean monument was claimed, we set sail again, and after about 30 more minutes, I finally found one that was unclaimed. I know, it's hard to believe, and all in all, it took about, I want to say maybe 3.5 hours, but finally I was able to place down those claim blocks and make this bad boy mine. I ended up setting up a base on a nearby island. Well, by a base, I mean a crafting table. And I'm going to use this as my base of operations while we get started. So I persevered. It took a lot longer than I wanted to, but in the end, we finally got the start of a base. Thanks for sticking with me. But the points we talked about today are really essential to think about when you're starting a new world or joining a new server. See what your competition's doing and develop a game plan based on the competition in your initial scouting of the server economy and your needs. Take the time to think about what the best farms in the game are. Think about the ones that will be effective on your server and the ones that will be ineffective based on the rule set. Focus on finding an effective farm that's going to give you the majority of things that you need at the beginning of the game, and make that your primary goal. And finally, don't give up. Many things are not going to go your way. You may spend 3.5 hours looking for an ocean monument. You may spend 3 hours making a farm or redstone machine, and it doesn't work like intended, and that's okay. That's all part of the process. And I want to thank you for joining me. If this type of content interests you, consider dropping a like or subscribe below, and I will see you next episode.